Alright, you guys, hi, welcome back. If you guys missed our last video, you definitely want to go back and start watching our part 1 to this video. Because this is part 2.
And again, we have the fabulous Tate joining us here, center stage, chewing on her block, teething, working on cutting some teeth.
Yes.
Poor little chipmunk. You don't be throwing that at me. Okay, well, to start, we're going to start with a really juicy one. In high school, I was like a big party guy. I'm not encouraging or discouraging anything that I'm going to be telling you guys, but I think there's a strength that comes in me just being honest. So yeah, in high school I partied all the time. That was like what I wanted to do basically, like every weekend. If we could find a party, we would want to be there. I drank underage. I just was very how did you say it in the last one? You said I
Just experimental.
Oh yeah, I was very experimental, as Maria said. There was just a lot of things that, like I said in the last video, if you didn't watch it, you should. I just am the type of personality that needs to find things out for themselves, and it's a double-edged sword because you're very, like, since I have to find things out myself, once I find something out and I find it to be truth, or I find out that, you know, it's good for me, then that's great. But sometimes it can lead me into some areas where I should not necessarily be like trying things. But yeah, I feel like the party scene was mainly I felt like I said in the last video, I felt like I was really depressed in high school, and when I would party, it would numb my like pain, numb like my emotions, and it would take my mind off of the things that were inside of me that were hurting. Instead of like working through them in a healthy manner, I just kind of suppressed them and just try to act like they weren't there. So being around my friends, being around girls, being around the party scene just made things easier for me. And now that I look back, I'm like, that really wasn't a healthy way to go about things. But in the same sense, I didn't have very much guidance in high school from really anybody.
Yeah, and then for me, I mean, I didn't experience any of that. I mean, I didn't, both of my parents were in my life. The people in the sphere of friends that I had around me never partied. Like, I didn't even know people did any of the things he had told me later. Like like I'd said a little bit, like I was just in shock when I found out some things, you know, as far as what people in high school do and like what's normal, you know. And so I was protected in a sense where I didn't have to experience a lot of the hard things he did, and I wasn't put in situations where I really had to make a decision. It was just kind of like it wasn't even an option, and so I didn't even have to pick. It was just the way it was, you know.
Maria literally took her first shot of alcohol at 21 years old after we were married.
Yeah, we were in our apartment. This was within our first year of marriage. I took my first shot, and it was fun. But yeah,
she felt so cool.
It was just so different, you know. Like, it was, I guess, more strict. Like, my parents were more strict. They had more like opinions on certain things. There was just a lot more guidance and like counsel when it came to certain things.
There's a lot more religion.
Yes, a lot more religion.
Which literally goes perfectly into the next one, where like
religious.
Our parents. How like our parents were. So you should just keep going because you were talking about it. Your
going
parents.
Along with my parents being just more like hands-on, it shaped me in the way that I was, in good ways and bad ways, because of my personality, I'm very much of just a take it as it's said and not really like exploring it any further. And it was to the point where I didn't really have to find out for myself or learn for myself what I really did believe. It was because I felt kind of spoon-fed my whole life. I felt like my relationship with God was my mom's relationship with God or my dad's relationship with God, because I just never really like thought for myself. It was just, I said the things that my parents said. But yeah, and like I'd said in our first video, because of my parents' upbringing, I mean, they were raised Mennonite, and so way more extreme in the sense of strict within their church and guidelines that they had to follow. And so when they raised us children, they have come a very long way. However, there were things that still stuck with them that was hard for them to see past as far as clothing that I would wear. Like, I had to be home by a certain time, like I had a curfew. A lot of that had to do with just me being a girl. Like, I've noticed, especially like with my younger brothers, like it's just not the same as it was for us girls. And it makes sense, you know, like Damar and I talk about, like, if we did have a boy and
Yeah, they can do whatever they want. I don't care, whatever.
Tate, I'm sorry.
And then Tate's gonna be at home 6 o'clock before the sun goes down every day.
So
Tate.
funny. But yeah, so I can see how, you know, it was just like parts of, they just want to protect me, you know.
And then me on the flip side, my mom was very much so. Well, one, I felt like I was pretty uncontrollable in high school too. Like I said, I was very like rebellious. So I felt like there was really nothing much that she could do. But yeah, I had a lot more freedom than Maria. Like, I would stay at my friend's house like weekends, weekdays occasionally. Like, I could just basically do what I wanted when I wanted for the most part. So it was like, yeah, just completely different. My mom didn't care if, like,
What
I watched, no, what video games I played. Like, I think since your mom grew up Mennonite and Amish, well, my mom basically was on her own since she was 16.
Mm-hmm.
So I think,
and had you really young.
Yeah, and had me really young. So I think she sees like what can happen. Like, she was on the opposite end of the spectrum where my grandpa was really strict, and I feel like she didn't want to do the same thing with me and my sister.
Yeah, so she wanted to do everything different.
Mm-hmm. Which, and everything turned out great, honestly.
Yeah. Everything in the end turned out great.
I live life a little risky, and I'm sure, like I say it all the time, my angels are probably tired, but I mean, through it all, like, it helped me be who I am, and like, yeah, I'm still here today, so.
Yeah.
Which kind of goes into, like, all these things kind of bleed into each other if you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
And then since my mom basically raised herself at 16, and since my mom's Filipino, my grandpa's first generation to this country, so when we came here, we didn't necessarily like my grandpa didn't go to church, and my grandpa didn't take my mom to church. So, like, my family's not very religious in that aspect. We just never were necessarily exposed to it. Mm-hmm. I think they've come a long way nowadays, mm-hmm. but like, I could probably count the amount of times I went to church when I was younger, and it was my aunt who took me, and it was to a Catholic church. Yeah. So it's like completely, like, it's just different. Like, mm-hmm. I really can't even remember like going to church with my mom at all. Where you, on the other hand, were constantly in there.
That was where I hung out. I hung out at church all the time. But yeah, so for me, I grew up in the church, but I touched on it a little bit. I'll just say a little bit more of where I am now. So I just have really had to, I would say when we first got married. Does that sound accurate?
I think it's been a lot in this past even like 6 months.
Really?
No, yeah, it started when we got married.
Okay. I would say so, like, when we got married, especially, I had to really just kind of figure out, like, for myself what it is that I do believe. And so I really had to just, like, form my own relationship with God. And so I would say that has just been an ongoing journey, I'd say. I mean, like, I don't in any way feel like I have all of the right answers or I have everything figured out, but I love Jesus. Like, I will raise my kids to the best of my ability to know him and to follow him. And
then to hop back to me, where I'm at right now with my, like, walk, it's a really interesting place, honestly. I feel like my relationship with God is wonderful. I feel like it's so hard unless you know me, kind of thing. I don't know. Because I have a hard time really feeling like I belong in a church. Like,
I feel like overall we have just realized together that it doesn't matter where we are. It doesn't matter what we do that makes us, you know, like, we don't have to prove to anyone that we love Jesus and that we love people because of Jesus.
Yeah, like, to me, our church is our house. Like,
yes,
it's
and
me,
it's
you,
within
the
our
girls,
workplace.
and
Wherever
our
we go, we
family,
just
yeah.
we love people and we treat people the way Jesus would treat people, and that is what we believe, and that's what we try to live by.
Yeah.
Because I'd say that's the best way of putting it, as far as both of us, how we feel about the church and how we feel like, it's just not anymore about works and what we do to earn God's love. He loves us regardless.
Exactly.
And
I think it's a personal relationship that you share with God, and like the way my relationship isn't going to be just like anybody else's, and I think that's great. Like, and I think there's a strength to that. Like, we're all different parts of the body, and I don't want to feel like I have to conform to seem like I am a certain way when I'm not. But yeah, we're in a good place. You know, I want to lead my household along with the Holy Spirit, to just be a role model to the girls. And like, you know, I feel like the best example you could set for your girls is loving your wife. And that's what like my focus is to lead my family well.
Yeah, and he does a great job. Another really big difference that we've recently come across is just within our struggle, individually and together, how we kind of go about things. So a lot of you guys know, like, we went through a really hard time a couple months ago, and honestly the hardest thing, an obstacle that we've ever had to really overcome within our marriage, and even though it may seem small to some people, it was really big for us. And we've just discovered how different we are in the sense of how we handle the struggle and how we handle it individually. And for me, I've always been a very like open book. I've always been like, you know, the first to share how I'm feeling. I'm really quick to just like be like, look, this is how I feel. And a lot of that is just the way that I was raised. Like, my family was very open, and I felt like I could go to my parents pretty much about anything, but to a fault sometimes, to the point where I was leaning on maybe them a little bit too much. And so over this hard time, it caused me to really like see myself in a sense of wanting to lean on other people rather than God and Damar. And so that's been something that I've been learning and just like seeing more than ever recently, and then just trying to understand each other in our differences with that. So I'll just let you go into how you are with that kind of stuff.
I am more of like a suffer in silence kind of person. I think it goes back to the way like I was raised. Like, I've always learned to just kind of handle it on my own. And yeah, like with Maria, I'm the type of person that's like, I feel like my delivery, so like she said that she needs to work on being able to be a little bit more closed off and a little bit more like selective with like who she opens up to about certain things. I need to be better at my delivery of my thoughts or my opinions. I feel like I can be kind of
you can be really brutally honest.
Yeah, to the point where it's like, yes, this is the truth, but you don't want to hear the truth like that. You know, like, I feel like I need to be better at how I deliver it, because it's like, yeah, it's the truth. Maria wasn't able to receive what I was saying because of the way I said it. But yeah, I'm just much more like, we could figure this out together if we just talk it out. And like,
and I think that just comes with like being early married. Like, it is only 3 years that we've been married, and we're just discovering a lot of different things, and I'm learning how to lean on Damar, you know, in every area. No matter what other people's opinions are, no matter what it is, I'm going to just trust that he's going to lead our family well. Within this year, I feel like we're going to have a lot of growth in that area, because that's something it was really spotlighted over the last couple months. And so as long as we're actively like trying to work on that, I think we can really grow in that area.
Of course. Yeah, as you can see, we're real people too. We have our struggles, we have our differences, but at the end of the day, like, once you choose to love someone, like what we did with our marriage, we're taking it very seriously. We don't see it as like, we don't look at marriage as like, oh, well, I can have a way out later. Like, we got married with the intention to making this work and last for as long as we're alive, and that's what we're going to do. Even though we're different, you can always if you're willing to, you could find a good common ground.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
We come into those moments all the time where it's like, we're just always going to think differently about this. So you do what you have to do. I'm going to do what I have to do. But it's never anything that's so big that it could like jeopardize our marriage or ruin us. So yeah.
It can be hard sometimes, like admitting like the struggle and admitting things that aren't always perfect, you know? So we just appreciate that, like the community that we do have within you guys, where you are also real people, and you guys you understand where we're coming from, and you're very graceful in the way that you even are willing to share things, you know, within your own lives. And we just love that so much that we have that community within you guys. So we just want to say thank you for hearing us out. And this honestly is kind of like
therapeutic.
It is a little bit where we talk it through, and like it's just really healthy and like good, you know. So yeah, we really hope you guys enjoyed this video or these videos.
Yeah, we love you guys. We really do.
We have a few exciting videos coming soon. Like we said, our anniversary is coming up, so we're going to be staying in Denver this week. We're really excited about that. So we'll probably film like a video or two while we're in Denver, just us two.
Keep an eye out for those. And yeah, again, we thank you guys for all your support and love. Like, it means a lot. Reading the comments, it's like,
I know,
so
it
amazing.
is so sweet. You guys are just so kind, like so kind. And we've never like met you in person, but like it feels like we know you. Like there's so many people, like the same people that comment on our videos, and it's just so fun to just interact. So yeah.
So we want to do something fun for all you guys here this year. We have a few ideas, so yeah, keep an eye on our social media. That's where we're going to be releasing that information. So if you aren't already, follow us down below. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Like the video. And
we will see you in our next one.
Hightower family.
Out.